So judging by your guys' responses to my community post the other day, I think it's safe to say not a lot of you guys are excited about the upcoming Siege X announcement. Now, you guys haven't heard the news, Rainbow Six Siege is about to go through a major overhaul called Siege X, which represents 10 years of a Rainbow Six Siege, and apparently these developers have been working on it in secret for the past 3 years. But what is Siege X? We don't have the full scope and full picture, but we're going to find out a lot more on March 13th. They're hosting a major event. It's a 3-hour deep dive. Apparently, it's a live event in Atlanta, and they're going to be deep diving the features that are coming to Rainbow Six Siege, or Siege X, equipped with a brand new logo, and what people are saying is going to be a huge update to the game, which includes audio and visual updates. It's essentially a huge engine upgrade like what we saw with CSGO to CS2, but apparently this is going to be even bigger than that, with a new and updated game feel, again, visual and audio updates, and more, but we don't know more. And reading through the comments, I asked you guys, like, what do you think of the upcoming Siege X announcement? It's a new era of Rainbow Six Siege. I get the feeling a lot of people in my audience don't like Rainbow Six Siege simply because the game isn't the tactical Rainbow Six games that we had growing up. Rainbow Six Patriots had to die for Rainbow Six Siege to thrive. And even so, I do think a lot of people who follow me played Rainbow Six Siege in its early days when it was a lot simpler, a lot darker in tone. There weren't a lot of operators, and the operators they did have were a lot more grounded in reality. Nowadays, it doesn't look like the same game that we played back in 2015. And I gotta say, I'm torn on that opinion, because while I can understand, you know, you saw the E3 2014 trailer, the game came out at the time and it wasn't quite up to that standard in terms of being able to move the hostage around, the rappelling off the helicopter. It wasn't what they showed in the trailer, but the game at the time I thought was actually pretty fun, albeit it was buggy. There were a lot of problems with their server infrastructure. Hit registration was off. The game was just in a really rough state. But back in the day, I had a lot of fun with that version of the game, and I played it religiously up until we saw the Brazilian operators, actually. I stopped playing, I believe, around the time that Cav came to the game. And honestly, it was the wall hacks. It was the being able to interrogate, seeing where everybody is. I saw the writing on the wall at the time. And so I stepped away as somebody who at the time wanted something that was a lot more in line with a more grounded, in reality, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six experience. And I felt like they were shifting away from that. And at the time, I was incredibly frustrated because I love PvP shooters. I loved the original announcement for Rainbow Six. So for all of the people that are frustrated with what the game has become, I completely understand your frustration. And at one point in time, I was right there with you. And I'll be honest, for the past, I would say 8 years at this point, I have watched the FPS space completely shit itself and flip itself on its head. And you guys have followed along with me, complaining about IPs changing, complaining about games coming out that are just in piss poor conditions. Games like Battlefield, Call of Duty is going down the shitter. X-Defiant is dead, another Ubisoft title. Hyperscape died. There's been so many games that have come and gone that it's honestly at this point tough for me to keep track. But one game amongst a small handful of FPSs actually found an audience and found a way to build a community and found a way to thrive in a world where most multiplayer shooters, I would say at this point, I mean, can we say 90% of multiplayer shooters die within 6 months? Even multiplayer shooters from the same company, the same umbrella company that is releasing other FPSs that are dying. I'm obviously referencing X-Defiant. X-Defiant didn't make it a year, but you have Rainbow Six, who at the time of me playing it, when I stepped away, I think was pulling in around 10 to 15,000 players. And now they're one of the top FPSs that you can play on Steam in terms of player numbers. They found that audience for a multitude of different things, including innovation, and I'll be honest, including moving away from the grounded tactical realities of games past. They didn't see traction there with the player base, and they needed to pivot in order to keep the game alive. And so From a developer perspective, I'm looking over the fence at what the Ubisoft like Rainbow Six team is doing, and I have incredible admiration for a team that was able to thrive, pivot, adjust, and keep a game going for 10 plus years. There aren't a lot of games that you can say are doing it like Rainbow Six. Counter-Strike has obviously, like, that's the big guy. They've been around. They've iterated a couple of times. They've went from 1.6 to Source to CSGO to now CS2. We've seen those engine upgrades work, and they've been able to maintain that player base for like, what's it been like, 150 fucking years. And then on the other side of the fence, we have games like Call of Duty that release a $70 like full price AAA experience every single year. And every single year, outside of a couple, handful of years here and there, they always shit the bed. Like, we're looking over the fence at Warzone now, watching the Warzone integration, and how these companies have handled that game is nothing short of a tragedy. We watched Battlefield shit itself time and time again, and now hopefully, we're waiting for the come up with the Battlefield. I'm guessing it's going to be a reboot when it releases later this year or next year or whenever. There has been a constant in Rainbow Six Siege. As a developer, I can admire the absolute shit out of them, and I actually, for somebody who has a long list of fuck Ubisoft type videos, I will always give them credit for doing what they did and being able to maintain a community-driven FPS for as long as they have. And now with this new update, that makes me excited to see how they're going to translate that into another 10 years of a Rainbow Six Siege. While on the same token, on the kind of the other side of the coin, I also feel for the people who are still in the position that I was when I stepped away from the game so many years ago. I understand your frustration. The game right now is a shell of its former self if you're a fan of tactical, realistic style shooters. The game wasn't really realistic like an Arma or even a Ready or Not. It still had an arcade feel back in the day, but it was grounded, it was gritty. You had guys like Castle, you had guys like Thatcher, Sledge. It was just a base level shooter with some operator gadgets and abilities thrown into the mix. And now that's been completely flipped on its head. When you play the game and jump in now, there are so many operators with so many different abilities that are game changing to the point where you need to know these abilities. It's a hero shooter in a different style of level design with the destruction elements, the one life game type mode, the bomb plant. It is a hero shooter for hardcore shooters, if that makes sense. And the thing is I can understand the frustrations. I can also admire a dev team that's been able to thrive in the world that we live in now when it comes to multiplayer games and what that usually means for studios, which is death. They've managed to make something of themselves and keep this game running. And there's me in the middle. When I play the game, there is no other game like it. Period. Point fucking blank. You cannot get the Rainbow Six Siege experience from anywhere else in this industry. It's not like you play Call of Duty or Battlefield and you can get alternatives like Delta Force, or if you play Tarkov, you can play ABI. There is nothing replicating Rainbow Six Siege. And when I play it, I have a really good time, but it's because I stepped away for so long that coming back to it, I had zero expectations, and I also watched what it transformed into from the sidelines. So going in, I know it's a hero shooter. I know it's got some hardcore elements that I really look for in other shooters, but can never seem to find the player base and the thriving player numbers to be able to jump into those games. Rainbow Six has the players. It has the hardcore time to kill. It has the one life mode. It has a slower play style, even though some people in this game are fucking gods. Their movement is great and they can maneuver through these maps in ways that make me look like I've never played a video game before. I really enjoy where Rainbow Six is. I don't think at this point it should be called a Rainbow Six game, much like our complaints for X Defiant when they labeled it a Tom Clancy's X Defiant and we said this looks nothing like a Tom Clancy game. They actually removed that branding. To their credit, I don't think it helped because the game at the end of the day was just kind of shit. But looking around the comments and reading what you guys think about the current state of Rainbow Six, it's clear that you guys want a new game. you guys want Rainbow Six Vegas 3, or you guys want like a Raven Shield 2, something more grounded, something more gritty, something more Rainbow Six. And it's funny, I'm seeing videos pop up from prominent creators saying that Siege X is going to be that return to their roots, that return to their tactical gritty form. I don't think it's going to be that at all. Let's actually talk about what I think is about to happen here with this Siege X announcement. I think we're going to see a major engine upgrade, which, I'll be honest, it needs it. The game looks fucking disgusting compared to other shooters on the market in 2025. An engine upgrade would be just fantastic at this point, both from a visual perspective and an audio perspective. Here's the thing. I actually think Siege has pretty good directional audio. There's some times where guys might be on a stairwell above me and I hear them below me. There's a couple of things that could get tweaked there. But that being said, a lot of games have those problems. So I can't say that Rainbow Six is worse in that regard. I just know that it could be better, and I'm hoping this upgrade actually makes that better. So an engine upgrade for me is a completely welcome change. What scares me is when they say that they're going to be refreshing the game feel. And in some of these clips, we see guys that are sprinting on walls while they're rappelling down, so your movement is going to be a little bit quicker and less sluggish. My guess is there's going to be an animation overhaul that makes the transitions between all of these different states a lot smoother, which might make the game speed up a little bit, which, I'll be honest, for somebody who enjoys the tactical nature of the game, even though there's a lot of this operator hero shooter nonsense, the pacing of the game really intrigues me, and that entices me to keep playing. If that changes and it goes a lot quicker, even if it's just an animation overhaul that makes the game feel more fluid, thus making it feel more fast-paced, if that makes sense, that worries me. But at the same time, I do feel like first-person animations in Rainbow Six Siege are a little lifeless. They're static, they're stiff, they're dated, and I would love to see the player controller change for the better, more fluid animations. But again, I feel like that's just going to have a detrimental effect on the pacing of the game. So they have to balance this very, very well. And this is my biggest concern because it's fucking Ubisoft. Rainbow Six Siege is the only thing that Ubisoft has going for it right now. We can talk about Assassin's Creed with the new Shadows and, oh, the pre-order numbers are trend. I don't care about that. In terms of IPs that have staying power in this industry right now, name me one other IP that Ubisoft is cooking on right now that has any sort of staying power. Rainbow Six Siege is it. They don't even have fucking Just Dance anymore. Rainbow Six Siege is their bread and butter. Some of the announcements at the Year 10 panel where they showed this off for the first time, talking about like tripling the size of the anti-cheat team. And while they've been doing all of this behind the scenes work, reports of cheaters have dropped over 40% in the past year, which is all like fantastic shit. We have to be able to shit on Ubisoft for making boneheaded decisions while also being able to recognize where their strengths lie. And I think with Rainbow Six, as much as you might hate the game, as much as you might want a Rainbow Six Vegas or a more gritty one, trust me, I'm right there with you. But we have to be able to take a step back and look at their strengths. Their strengths is what they've managed to do with this game. And what scares me is we have seen a lot of games go this like, we're just doing an engine upgrade, huge route, and completely fuck themselves. My brain is automatically looking at Overwatch 2, which was a disaster from the jump. And the reason I look at them is because they're a massive corporation that went and did it. Blizzard, they took the team, they changed the monetization, they changed the game from 6v6 to 5v5, and they made these drastic changes that they've all now just gone and reverted over the last 2 years because the community basically bullied them into doing it. And for me, knowing the financial position that Ubisoft is in, this is a huge risk for them to go this route in 2025. Because if they manage with this update to drive away the player base that they have garnered, even though I understand that my audience and our community isn't the target demographic for Rainbow Six anymore, they have garnered a new community that has rallied around this game for the past decade. And if they manage to fuck it up for them, and don't get me wrong, it's Ubisoft, that is in the cards, and they're probably holding a couple of them in their deck. This could go wrong really, really fast. I'm obviously looking forward to March 13th. I'm a fan of Rainbow Six. The reason why I don't talk about it on this channel that often is because you guys don't give a shit. And I'm not going to sit here and force feed you stuff that I know you don't want to watch. I stream it over on Twitch because that's where I play the games that I'm enjoying. I chat with my audience, and that's just the more interactive side of it. But I don't actively make Rainbow Six content. I wish I could. I wish that more people in this community enjoyed it, but that's not for me to decide. What I do hope is that Ubisoft handles this one with grace, and they actually, they say they've been working on it for 3 years. I'm curious to see what that actually means. And I swear to God, if Ubisoft fucks up the only good thing that they have going right now, that would be such a Ubisoft move. It wouldn't even be funny, but I'd probably laugh anyway. Anyways, guys, I wanted to put a video out discussing my thoughts on Siege X, as well as kind of bringing your guys' opinions into the conversation. I feel like there's value there. As much as I might disagree with a lot of what people are saying, you guys saying you want sequels, you want them to refresh the game. I like where they're at with Siege. I don't think a game like that needs to have a sequel. I mean, honestly, if they announced like Rainbow Six Patriots or a more gritty single-player game, of course I'm going to be all over it. But I do believe in giving credit where credit is due, and when I play R6 and when I see these announcements, when I watch the invitationals, I get very, very excited. Even though I understand I'm not the target demographic, I still play the game and understand that we're probably never going back to a Patriot-style shooter ever again. And I just try to enjoy what I have in front of me. And if I don't, like I did before, I just step away for a while, take a break, and then maybe I come back when things pique my interest. Let me know what you guys think down below of Siege X. What do you think the announcement is going to entail? There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of speculation. I'm feeling a very deep upgrade in terms of their engine. I think we're getting a huge animation overhaul that's going to make the game feel a lot more like up to date. The visual, the audio changes. I personally, at this point, I would love to see a new map, for Christ's sake. I think the last map they dropped was Lair, and that map basically gets banned every time we play it in comp anyway. I don't think the community really likes it. I've barely played that map, to be fair. When I did play it, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was kind of just there, but it gets banned every time, so I don't even get to experience the new content. But anyways, I can rant about Rainbow Six forever. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. What do you think Siege X is going to be? What do you want to see out of Rainbow Six Siege? What do you want to see out of Ubisoft for the Rainbow Six IP? It's okay if you guys don't like the game. That's my opinion, but I also know that there's some people in this community that really just want this entire IP to fail. And there's people in this community that want Ubisoft to fail. They don't give a fuck about what they're, it doesn't matter what it is, Assassin's Creed, X Defiant, Rainbow Six. They just want to see it all crumble because they hate what Ubisoft has become. And even for me, as much as I hate Ubisoft's decisions, I've always said, I don't want Ubisoft to fail. I want them to learn. I want them to make better decisions and start giving fans what they want. And dude, if their perfect world scenario would be if this team just kept Rainbow Six Siege going for as long as humanly possible, while also having another team dedicated, like they're doing with the Assassin's Creed franchise, having another team dedicated to bringing us other experiences within the Rainbow Six universe. Give us a PvE game, not fucking Extraction, please God no. Give us a real tried and true PvE story-based, narrative-driven experience in Rainbow Six. Keep it gritty, keep it tactical, make it co-op. I think motherfuckers would eat that up. And at the same time, if you wanted to bring back the original game mode, I know they did a limited time mode where it was like classic vanilla Siege. I wasn't around at the time. I would love to see that come back into the fold and just get to experience the game the way it initially came out. I think that would be cool too. I think there's so much potential here to be able to feed both sides if they would just actually make better decisions up top. And so basically this video sums up to like, I understand where everybody is coming from in this scenario. Ubisoft likes money. Ubisoft likes growth. Ubisoft likes the direction that Siege is going. A lot of gamers don't, and I get that too. As always, my name is Big Fry. I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the current state of Siege, what Siege X is coming. We're going to be streaming the Siege X reveal on March 13th. If you guys want to come through to the Twitch channel, we're going to watch it together. We're going to discuss. It's a 3-hour fucking deep dive, so I'm going to be all over that shit. If you guys want to come through, again, you guys are seeing gameplay clips from my Twitch channel. Come through, swing in, say hello, watch with us, and we can all experience together what Ubisoft believes the future of Siege is going to be. As always, my name is BigFry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.